Hi, I'm Chloe Hooks, and my website for my final project is called Gluten-Free Degree, a Celiac Student's Guide. Why I created this site was because my brother has celiac disease, and when he came back from college after his first semester, he had lost 10 pounds, not being able to get his nutritional needs met. And when I came back to my school, I noticed that this is a non-unique issue. People all across the country and all across the world are struggling when they make that transition to a university, trying to get a higher degree and still taking care of their health. And when the opportunity presented itself, I wanted to empower people to be able to pursue a higher degree, pursue their education, while still being able to maintain the diet that's a necessity for their health. So their website goals for this project were for people to walk away knowing their rights awarded to them by the US government, to employ tips, access helpful resources, and know that the path ahead of them has been lived by other people and that there are people going along it with them. I want to do all this honestly without sugarcoating anything, but still keep the tone and the text of the website lighthearted, engaging, funny, and simple. So it's like a peer talking to a peer, which it really is. Simplicity is the key for the site because there's two target audience. It's not just the youth with celiac, but also any concerned parties. So the audience's tech literacy is across all spectrums, and I needed to create a site that was clear and still visually appealing. And I did this, as the title of the website suggests, by making a guidebook. Each page is a chapter, and the opening page is a book. So now, having explained the site, its goals, its target demographic, and how I aim to achieve everything, I'll move you over to the walkthrough. Now begins the walkthrough portion of this video pitch. So here's the opening page. It's not the home page, but it's sort of the page that you walk into at first. And it sets up the visual metaphor of the site. You get your gluten-free degree, and you're going to open the guidebook. Now, as you can see, just to comment really quickly on the visual metaphor here, I try to keep it consistent from the opening page. So there's still a wooden background. The book is on top of a table, as it would be, and as you can see, the pages are actual page texture. So this is the About chapter, and it addresses sort of the mission of the site and the metaphor of the site. I've, in addition to having just an intro, I've included a question and answer section in order to break down information clearly, and I've attempted to type the answers in an irreverent, joking, relatable tone that's present throughout the site, community sort of tone. This way the information is potentially less nerve-wracking and engaging, and it feels like a peer talking to a peer, which ultimately it is. And here at the bottom, I've included a link to donate to the American Celiac Disease Foundation. And all of these links appear on separate pages for user convenience, and all content here is original. On to the rights chapter. This chapter covers a topic that a lot of students do not know anything about. They are protected by US law, which is a big deal. It breaks down different laws that protect them, which is mainly the ADA, but there's a few others, and their impacts, and it connects students with resources to help them learn more. All this information is synthesized and simplified as my own content, but references are provided as links in my code. Now, the advice section is really the core of the site, and it breaks down into two chapters, Big Picture and Student Life, and we'll take a look first at Big Picture. The Big Picture chapter explains that while students can take steps to improve their accommodations anywhere, there are just some universities that are better at it right now, and they need to consider that when they're making a 4-year decision to live at a college which requires a meal plan. They can meet the challenge of getting informed by exploring our college list resources and by employing the tips that we give them to do their own research. Again, here, all sources are provided in the code. And the Student Life chapter comes up next, which is, I'm in school, how do I do this now? And this gives a variety of tips and resources for students to employ on the day-to-day, most of which involve just getting food. I recruited my brother William to give me some tips, some images on what he eats in a day, and actually included his first grocery list here. So that should be helpful for people who are looking to know what to do when they actually get there. And also included some videos and other resources which enables people to access other gluten-free community members' perspectives on how to manage this diet in college. Again, all of this is cited in the code. Feedback. Write it yourself. This is the last chapter wherein users are urged to let us know how we're doing or just to share their own stories. I wanted to end with this chapter to communicate that while I'm the creator of the site and author of its content, the community is the true owner of the guidebook, and I want users to act accordingly. And I'll head back to the opening page to explain the deviations from my original proposal. So my project goal, benefits, target audience, general layout all remain the same, though different names of pages are different. I would characterize my deviations as intentional and minimal. They mainly came as follows. First, I condensed content such as removing videos on the opening page, the about page, and eliminating subtopics and paragraphs that didn't feel essential. Most of this occurred on the student life page, which I'm very pleased with, but would also want to expand the most. I also simplified the feedback page by having only a comment box rather than a survey, because truly it was an issue of time, but I felt like deciding between the two, the community voice was more important, and I wanted to include the survey had I unlimited resources. But I'm happy with my decision to do the comment box. Second, I tweaked the visual presentation. Namely, this page here is not a cover page of a book, but rather of a book opening, which I feel like is more uplifting message and more interesting and engaging. And also, I changed my storyboards from being horizontally oriented to vertically oriented, and I eliminated some of the side images that I originally intended, namely because this is more streamlined, scrollable, readable, and less visually cluttered. I'm very pleased with the way I was able to organize and present the information here, which was a challenge of making it interesting and employing all the familiar elements of a book while still employing the best of multimedia presentation, which is making it clear, chunking information, doing the best to make the information easy, accessible, and engaging. And lastly, I refined site architecture by eliminating a needless redirection, and I combined the big picture and student life page into a navigation drop-down box on advice because it was just simpler and more understandable to navigate this way. And lastly, in terms of looking ahead, I'd be very interested in expanding this site and the idea, because it's original, needed, and there's no resource like it at the moment. I'd love to have more interactive elements, more relevant videos, and I could see covering social topics and administration tips. There's always more advice to be given, and this is absolutely something I could see myself returning to. But in the meantime, do hope to find a way to keep the site online, if not in a PDF form.